Welcome to the Fit 15 podcast show, where you'll find health and fitness inspiration, motivation, and information shared in 15-minute episodes. Tune in while getting a move on to make leading and enjoying the benefits of a healthy lifestyle almost too easy. It's the Fit 15.
And now your host, Catherine Turley.
Welcome to the Fit 15 podcast show. I'm your host, Catherine Turley. And have you been getting enough sleep lately? I know that this can be something that many of us wear as a badge of honor, getting a lot done and doing it even if we have to give up sleep. But I met today's guest along my author journey, and the book has since become a bestseller. And I think part of that was just trying to reprioritize sleep and not overcommit myself. And I'm really grateful to guest Gillian for reminding me of that through her book and our conversations. And I'm excited to share this conversation that I had with her for the podcast with you to help you learn more about sleep and why it's important, and maybe incorporate some of her teachings and tips into your own life so you get a better night's sleep tonight. As I mentioned, my guest, Gillian Duncan, is an author and editor at Clarity Junction, a website that focuses on finding a clearer path forward for women when they come into a natural crossroad in life. She's a graduate in biomedical sciences with a career background in neuroscience and psychology. Gillian is also a qualified NLP life coach, yoga and meditation teacher, and brings all this knowledge along with a wealth of life experience to her writing. When she is not writing or coaching, Gillian can be found playing her violin or piano and studying for her next music exam along with her 2 teenage sons. Gillian also loves dogs, guinea pigs, Doctor Who, and the Avengers movies. Well, welcome to the podcast, Gillian. I'm so excited to have you as my guest today.
Oh, thank you so much, Catherine. It's absolutely an honor for me to be here and to be talking to you today.
Thank you. Well, I read your bio for people. You obviously have a great scientific background. Can you tell us, what made you interested in writing your book about sleep and why you're so passionate about that with all your other credentials?
Yeah, sure. Well, really, it was a complete personal experience that I went through a few years ago. I had gone through this really stressful time in my career, and I noticed at the time I was gaining a lot of weight. And it was completely not normal for me. Sure, my weight had gone up and down for several years, and I just thought, I need to do something about this. So I did what we should do. I really cut back on like cheese and chocolate and crisps and chips, and I made sure I was exercising every day. And I didn't give up. Every single day I was exercising. I gave up alcohol and was only drinking water.
Wow, yep.
Yeah, but I wasn't losing my weight. And I really thought there was something wrong. I thought, oh my goodness, I must be ill. There's something, desperately wrong with me. And so this was going on in the back of my mind. And meanwhile, I was this stressful event in my life was beginning to peter out. It was beginning to resolve itself, and I found that I was starting to sleep better at night. And before I know it, I was having a good night's sleep. And about a couple of weeks later, I noticed that I was losing weight. And I thought, well, gosh, that's something. I wonder if this is related. So I looked into the matter and found that there was this relationship between sleep and your weight. And from there, I thought, I really need to do something about my sleep. For years, I have been not being able to sleep, and it's affected so many things in my life that I needed to take control of this. Now physically seeing what it actually does to lose sleep. So yeah, that's why I decided to put all my information about what I've been doing over the years into a book, so that other people can read it, and maybe they can identify areas in their life that are perhaps causing their sleeplessness, and also the cause of their issues, their health issues.
No, for sure. I mean, that's awesome that you wanted to be able to share your experiences and the lessons that you learn with other people. So that's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
And you mentioned that sleep is important. We have so many things that we can kind of go into more details, but just anecdotally, I know that's something I focus on with my fitness clients. And I don't know if you have any tips. I know maybe we can talk about, the recommendation of, 7 to 9 hours and do we really need that? But personally, I've definitely seen that clients like I try to get them to 7 to 9 hours, and you could probably speak to whether or not that's
Hmm.
needed or not. But I try to have them start by just, can they get an extra 30 minutes? And sometimes I've seen that be helpful with clients. I'm not timing their exact sleep cycle, but could you
Yeah.
talk to us about that? Like how much can make a difference? What can be a goal to get us to the next step?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it is a very controversial number. There's a lot
Mm,
of debate about there. Some people say you only need 6 hours. Some people even say less.
wow.
I am completely in agreement that you need at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep per night, and I mean every single night.
Mhm.
Um, Without that, you tend to sort of start to go into that area of hurting your own health.
Mm,
You start to trigger off a biological stress response in your body, which is no good.
mhm.
So it has to be every single night. So you can't just go to sleep for 5 to 6 hours during the week and then think, oh, do you know something, I'm going to catch up on my sleep on a Saturday and a Sunday and I'll have a long lie then. Because what's already happened is during the week your body, it doesn't know that you're going to catch up and sleep. It feels stressed, it feels like it's lacking something.
Mm,
It needs that time to renew, repair, and to rest. And so it says, I'm tired, I need this time, I'm stressed, and it will send this biological signal out into your body. And there's nothing you can physically do about that apart from making sure that you're getting those hours of sleep. So
sure.
yeah, I mean, it's extremely important that you get that. When you end up with this stress response, you end up with higher levels of cortisol in your body, and everybody knows that's a really well-known stress hormone, and that again can trigger off so many illnesses in your body.
Hi, friends, it's Catherine, and that sound is your halfway point reminder. If you're joining us and doing that out and back walk, I always recommend you do during the episode and only have a total of 15 minutes today. You will want to turn around now as we're halfway through that 15-minute mark. All right, back to our conversation.
It really attacks your immune system for one. And then all of a sudden you can end up with lots of flus and colds and wonder why, and it could just be
Mm,
down to the fact that you're not getting enough rest.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So really, we do need to aim for at least 7 hours from what
Yeah,
what you've seen.
definitely. And also, I mean, if you're talking about your health and fitness, if you're going out and you're training and you're exercising, your cardiovascular system, it goes through quite a lot to do that. And that's good. We have to train our cardiovascular system to work. It gives you that wonderful healthy heart. But if you don't give yourself enough hours to sleep, there's stress hormones that attack your body, as I was saying, and these proteins come around and they can actually affect your heart and really affect your cardiovascular functioning. Your
Mm,
heart really needs to rest. It needs that time overnight to just relax and chill out. Such a big muscle, and we use it without thinking about it every
mm.
single second of our day. So it needs rest too. It's not just our minds. It's not just our, skeletal muscles that need rest, but our heart needs rest too.
Got it. So the lack of sleep, if we're not getting those 7 hours, minimum, is going to could have that kind of hormonal impact, which
Yep,
will cause more stress, and then also affect other organs like the heart you mentioned.
absolutely.
Are you like, is there more to all that? I mean, I know we hear about cortisol. Is there anything else like listeners should know about, just if they're curious about the mechanism of all this and what other body systems can be affected and maybe how it lowers our immunity? Did you come across any of that?
Oh, sure. Yeah. It's quite a lot to go into in depth.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest with you, when you miss sleep, it's not just one hormone in your body that
Mm,
gets affected. Everything in your body gets affected. It's a case of, how finely tuned our bodies are. If you take one system and you put it off kilter, it affects another system and another system and another system. So before you know it, you have really sort of shaken your foundations and things don't seem to work as they should. I mean, the biggest sort of one of the things that obviously springs to my mind through my own experience was weight gain. So for example, if you're lacking sleep, your amount of leptin that you have in the body, which is a hormone, it becomes decreased. So that is the signal that your stomach is full. So if you decrease that signal, what happens is that signal for your stomach saying it's full goes away as well. So you're always hungry. You're always saying, oh, I'm not, I need to eat more. I need to eat more. And then along with that, you've also got another hormone called ghrelin. And now that becomes increased. And that hormone is the signal that makes you need to eat. So it says, oh, you know something? You're hungry. You need to eat. So you've got one signal saying, yeah, you need to eat, and the other one saying you're not full yet. And with those two in combination, it just makes you eat more and eat more and eat more. So you have no cutoff point. So obviously it's going to really affect your weight. So you could be eating really healthy foods here. I'm not even talking about eating the things that you shouldn't really be eating too much of, like chocolate and crisps. I'm talking about just your normal portion size. But if your body doesn't have that cutoff and it's telling you that you're hungry and you're needing to eat more, then you're just going to be consuming more and more calories that you really don't need. Now, there's another aspect of this as well, and this is to do with your frontal lobe of your brain. Now, in there's your reward centers. Okay, so this is like the kid voice in your head that says, I want this, I want that. If you pass a cake shop and you're like, oh my goodness, I really want that donut. Your other mature voice goes, your adult voice, it says, that would be really nice, but you had a donut, the other day, and perhaps today is not the good time to have a donut. Maybe you can have another one another time, or, it sort of calms you down. But when you're tired, there's this sort of, it's almost like your lobe is impaired, so you can't control it. So this reward center is completely activated, and you will go and you will get that donut. And then you will eat it because you're being told by your other system, by your other hormone, ghrelin, that you are hungry and that you need to eat. And you might actually have two donuts because the other hormone, leptin, doesn't tell you that you're full and you've had enough. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, for sure.
So before you know it, you're just eating and you can't stop eating. And yeah, so that's one way that an imbalance can happen in one of the systems in the body. So yeah, it is a complete cycle.
Yes, not a good cycle. But like you mentioned too, and you were saying in the beginning that this is something you wanted to share with people because you'd been through it. But it sounds like maybe like for your experience, or maybe you didn't realize it, but I do feel like clients tell me the truth and they say this, like often you can be eating the right things and maybe not even in a higher amount, but just the hormones that are released are causing you not to be able to access those and the nutrients properly, and causing the weight gain as well. But the other hormones released are causing you to actually want to eat more and not be able to monitor that.
And no matter what you think, and unless you completely write absolutely everything down and weigh what you're eating at this point, you do believe that you're doing the best that you possibly can. And you, as I say, you might be eating the healthiest of foods and consuming your water and making sure you're hydrated and doing your exercise. But if there's something that's telling you otherwise, and you're constantly hungry perhaps, then those are signals that you might be missing. You just might be missing. But there's also another flip side to this as well, because we're talking about not having enough sleep, so you're going to be feeling tired,
right?
and that has an effect on your exercise as well.
Sure.
and you want to exercise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you'll be coming across this an awful lot. You get people
Right.
who, they've come home from work, they're tired, they can't be bothered,
Mm-hmm.
come up with 101 excuses why they shouldn't exercise.
Mm.
I didn't sleep well, so do you know something? I'm going to have a day off. I'm not going to go to my class tonight. I'm just going to sit and put my feet up, and I'm going to eat those chips. So that's what happens. You make these poorer choices when you're tired. So rather than actually saying, well, I had a really bad night's sleep last night, so today I'm going to eat really healthy. I'm going to make sure I eat the right foods. I'm going to cut back in my caffeine and my sugars today because I know that they're stimulants. I know they're going to affect my sleep. I'm going to make sure that I go out for a walk at lunchtime. I'm going to take at least 15 minutes out in the fresh air. I'm going to do some stretches. I'm going to make sure that I get to my bed a decent time tonight, so I can get a better night's sleep tonight. But what happens? These controls, they're all over the place because we're so disrupted just by even one night of missing sleep. And
Mm.
before we know it, we're grouchy, we really just don't want to communicate with people. We're sitting on a sofa with our feet up, avoiding everything, and as I say, just eating the wrong things. And then what would we do? We tend to go to bed later because we're
Right.
sitting on a sofa with our feet up. And honestly, it just goes round like that. So yeah, and they always want it. The big one is, I'll make up at the weekend. I'll fall asleep.
Right.
I'll sleep in, and that'll all be good. I'll be fine for next week. But that never happens. That never happens. Our cycle gets put out, our rhythm gets put out, and before you know it, it becomes a habit.
Yeah, and I mean, guess no. So how? I mean, it sounds as you're describing it, just kind of like hopeless. Like, how do we break out of that habit? Like, what do we do to kind of to stop the cycle?
Yeah, well, the biggest one is to actually understand how important your sleep is, and
Mm.
how that it can affect your health. And we're talking about um, these conditions that come up, like obesity, like type 2 diabetes, like your lowered immunity, heart disease, infertility is another one. And
Mm.
also the one that most people can understand really is having that decreased cognitive function and emotional control, that feeling of you're not being able to be patient during the day,
Right.
snapping at everybody else and being really clumsy. I mean, I know that I'm like that when I don't get enough sleep.
Sure.
So, that's what people most recognize. And but it's actually going beyond that and saying, well, it's not just about that, it's about physically, long-term health damages, health issues. Um, so once we actually take that on board and actually say, okay, I need to do something about this, everybody needs to sort of stop and say, this is important, sleep is important. It's not just something that we just take for granted. We go to bed, no, I just feel tired or feel grumpy in the morning. We actually have to say, right, this is what I need to do. I need to take this seriously. So really, that's first things first. And then, as I was saying before, make sure you make the effort to get that exercise in during the day, particularly if you do feel tired, or you've had a bad night's sleep the night before. Get some just nice gentle exercise in,
Mhm.
get some fresh air. Again, looking at your diet, try and really fight that urge to go for a bacon butty in the morning. uh, you know, think healthy from the start. Think healthy.
Mm.
Think reduce those stimulants, reduce the sugar, reduce the caffeine, reduce nicotine as well. Um, Caffeine is a hidden one. Caffeine's really anything after lunchtime I would avoid
Mm.
if you drink caffeine, and that includes cups of tea. Definitely, because it just mounts up in your bloodstream. And then think about it, your bedtime habits, your bedtime routine. So the biggest one I would say that people are guilty of is taking their phones to their rooms, to their beds, and putting it beside their bed,
Mm.
and reading it, looking at, checking their social media, that, and also watching like TV or watching a film on their laptop or their tablets. That really, all those devices need to be turned off at least 1 hour before going to bed. It's I know it's awful, but it's like pulling the plug in your social life, but it's you've got those white lights, and
Yeah.
those white lights stimulate our mind. Our brains don't know whether it's daylight or whether it's false light. So
Right.
we need to give our brains some time away from that, so that again more of these neurotransmitters can act the way they need to naturally in order to produce that switch off in our brain. I mean, loads of people say to me, how can you switch off at night? Well, do you take your phone to bed? Do you, I use it as my alarm clock, or I say goodnight to my friend or whatever. No, just don't. Just say goodnight an hour before, put it
Yep.
away, turn the telly off, and give yourself that time. Dim the lights, start
Mm-hmm.
preparing yourself for sleep. Telling your mind and mentally preparing yourself for sleep is such a huge thing, because there isn't an on-off switch,
Right.
unfortunately.
Right. No, for
So,
sure.
yeah, you
Yeah.
have to set your biological one yourself. So yeah, so that's one of the tips. And then of course the biggest one for me is, apart from those white lights, is to go to bed on time. It's such a
Mm-hmm.
simple thing, and we're all guilty of it. And we just need to say, right, well, if I need to get up at such and such a time in the morning, I need to count 7 to 8 hours before that, and that's my bedtime. And you stick
Mm-hmm.
with it. So everything in your day gets prepared so that everything is done before that time, so that you are in bed, not thinking about bed, not um, oh yeah, I should be in bed, I should go and brush my teeth now. Or no, you need to be in bed so that you can give yourself those hours, because if you don't have those hours available to sleep, you're not going to get them. You're going to be missing those dedicated 7 to 8 hours each night. So you're depriving yourself. So it's simple, but that's what it is. You just have to make that the habit.
And we know it, right? Because for our kids, we try to make sure they
Uh-huh.
I feel like a lot of parents we make sure that their kids get enough sleep and get the 8 hours, but we don't always do it for ourselves. So maybe
No,
just
no, we're the biggest hypocrites. Absolutely. Yeah, we send our kids to bed and we say, "Oh, you should be in bed. You've got such a long day tomorrow, and get
right.
to your bed." And then you sit up and you watch television. Um, you know, my kids actually commented on that the other night. I was actually watching some reruns of Downton Abbey, because the film's out. So I was watching, and my kids said to me, I remember this theme tune because we were in bed and we could hear it playing. Now I'm thinking, well, Downton Abbey was on Sunday nights, 9 o'clock. Okay, so it's not fantastically late, but when you think about it, I'm telling people to turn their lights off and their televisions off an hour before they go to bed. But I was
Yeah.
proper. I was turning. It was Sunday night, so I'm up early in the Monday morning, up for the kids. I'm telling them to go to bed. I'm turning on Downton Abbey. I'm watching a bright white light, all the drama, everything going into my head, and I turn it off and I go to my bed at 10 o'clock and expect to go to sleep. That's just not going to happen. So I won't fall asleep till 11 o'clock that night. So I'm not going to get my sleep hours. So it's just thinking, I mean, these days you can watch catch up. So if you
Right.
want, yeah, do you know what I mean? If you can schedule in a program to suit your sleep, then that is much better than, suiting your sleep to watch a program. So yeah, but definitely we need to watch what message we're sending to our own kids as well, because if
Right.
they see us doing that, then that's okay.
And I guess too, thinking, it's not that we're doing that to punish them.
No,
It's because we care about
we
them,
care.
and
Yeah.
yeah. So we should care about ourselves too.
Absolutely, self-care, so important, so important. And then we won't get so grouchy with the kids in the morning when they're late.
Right. Right. No, for sure. Well, Gillian, you have a lot of great resources that people can get to kind of help them
Yes.
break the bad habit cycle and get
Yeah.
into the good habit cycle. Do you want to talk about what you have available if they're able to go over to your website?
Yeah, sure. So I have a book out called Sleep, Cure Your
Mhm.
Insomnia, Improve Your Health and Feel Better Now. And all the information about that book is on my author website, which is www.gillianmduncan.com. And there you'll find some free downloads. There's a 3-part mini course that you can take,
Mhm.
just to find out a little bit more about sleep, just things that we've just talked about today and a little bit more. There's a workbook that you can follow and go through with this course. There's also a sleep journal that you can download, and that helps you to record your daily behavior. So like your exercise, what you're eating, that sort of the habits that we were talking about, and also the amount of hours that you are getting, so that you can look back at the end of the week or each day and to say, I really need to adjust this. I really need to sort that out. So yeah, they've got that at the site. And also for those who are into meditation, I love meditation, and I am a big believer in it helping you to go to sleep. But there's also, on the site, I've actually got a download as well, an MP3 download of a sleep meditation, a guided meditation that you can listen to if you wake up in the middle of the night, you can't get back to sleep, or you're finding it hardest to sleep and switch off in the evening. I think that's everything, but there's probably a lot more actually that I've not talked about on the site. So just pop over to the site, much easier to do.
Well, I appreciate everything you've shared, Gillian, and
Thank you.
You can see the impact, right? It's not going to just impact ourselves, but also the people that we interact with, right? So
absolutely, yeah. We don't want to be grumpy all the time, do
right.
we?
So definitely important work that you're doing, and I'll share the links with everyone in the show notes, because there's lots of great resources you have. So thank you
Thanks
for
so
all
much.
you're doing and being a guest of the show.
Oh, thank you so much, Catherine. All the best to you.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Fit 15.
For show notes and more, visit fitarmadillo.com/podcast.
See you next time.
Hi friends, it's Catherine, and I hope you enjoyed today's episode and are going to implement the tips that my guest shared, so that you'll have a better night's sleep tonight and be able to use that extra energy and focus that you'll bring to your day towards maybe some of your entrepreneurial endeavors. Speaking of that, I have on tomorrow for the first episode of my Female Founders series, female founder of her first 100K, Tori Dunlap. So we'll be talking about how you can work on your financial fitness in this episode, and a little bit more about what she does over at her company. So if you're looking for help with that and some insights, definitely be sure to subscribe so you don't miss that episode. And I look forward to sharing that with you tomorrow. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Sweet dreams. Bye for now.